So we just hit 1,000 subscribers here on this YouTube channel. Thank you for being here with me. I've never had something of this size to my own name. I've always put all my effort and time into other projects, like a full band or other people's music or something. So to have something that's under my name grow to this size is awesome. And I know it's not a very big number to most people, but 1,000 of you here is a lot for me. So I just want to say thank you. Now I'm going to answer some of your questions. So this is Elias from Instagram. He says, what is your day job? Well, my day job is I'm a broadcast director at a mid-sized market local news station here on the East Coast. I get up early and I do a morning show from about 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then once I hit my lunch break at about 8 a.m., that's when I sit here and make content in the TV studio while nobody's in here. And I also make all of my content through headphones, so it's not like I'm bothering anybody with all my guitars. And after I make content, I go back to work doing another show and various other things throughout the day. Thank you for your question. This is Jess from Instagram. What inspired you to first pick up the bass? Well, between middle school and high school, I had two very close friends, and one was a drummer and one was a guitarist. So obviously, for us to start a band, they needed a bass player. So I picked up the bass. We were a three-piece for a while. I didn't even know what bass was when I first picked it up, but they handed it to me and said, play this, play it like this. And then I was hooked ever since. And then I moved on to guitar eventually. Now I play both. It depends on what I'm doing. I've played bass in various bands. I've played guitar in various bands. But bass is my first love. Thank you for your question. I have various questions about what impulse responses I use. I'm not too picky about impulse responses. Pick what you like and go with it. Don't worry about if it's a Mesa or Marshall or whatever. Whatever sounds good to you, just use that. I use mainly free ones. ML Sound Lab has a really good free one. I forget what it's called. I'll put it up on screen if I find it. I have some Vertex ones, there's C-Cal caps. There's a whole ton of options out there. Just find what you like. I like the ML ones personally. Yeah, just use what you got. You'll be fine. And TikTok, I'm not gonna bother trying to say your names because you're ridiculous. I have that interface but experience a bit of delay while playing. How can I stop that? Well, what you're hearing is latency. There's gonna be latency anytime you run through electronics. Whether you hear it or not is the thing. So I forget what the number is, but anything above like 3 milliseconds or something of latency is technically audible. And if you're playing guitar, you're definitely gonna notice it before you hear it. You're gonna notice it by feel. The goal is to get that latency number down to 0, as close to 0 as possible. Some things you can do in your DAW you're gonna have to do is adjust your buffer size, and this definitely deserves like a Google search for your specific DAW. The less amount of buffers you use, the harder your computer works, but you'll lower that latency too. So if you're trying to record guitars, the idea is to lower your buffer size so you can have that low latency playback. And once you're done recording, you can lower the buffer size and get more plugins in. That way, that latency doesn't really matter at that point since you're not playing back with it. Yeah, but definitely do more research on that. Definitely check your buffer size. I think my buffer is at 64, 128, I'm not sure which one. But at that buffer size, I don't have any latency. How powerful your computer is a factor. The interface is a factor if it's USB 2.0 or God forbid 1.0, or if you're using USB-C or Thunderbolt, all of that matters. And also some plugins are just super chunky. You're just gonna have more latency based on which plugin you're using. So you just gotta figure it out. Definitely look it up based on your specific DAW and your specific interface. This is from TikTok. So when you plug a guitar into an interface, can you hear what you're playing? Like with all the effects and the setup? I can. It depends on how your setup is. If your computer's, shut up, phone. If your computer is strong enough to run a bunch of things at once, you can definitely have live monitoring through your DAW. So you could put a clean guitar signal into your laptop and then put on your plugins, put on your amp sims, and then what you're hearing is that guitar running through those plugins live with hopefully low latency. Otherwise, you're gonna have a hard time recording. If you cannot get the latency down, there are a couple things you could do. You can use like a real guitar amp and then mic that up and then listen back through your interface. Like the interface we're talking about is the Behringer UMC22. It does have a direct monitoring button on the interface, but you're gonna hear stuff from your laptop, but the direct monitoring is gonna come from whatever you're plugging into the interface. So if you're plugging a clean guitar signal into the interface, that's what you're gonna hear when you hit that direct monitoring button. But if you're gonna use a guitar amp and throw a mic in front of a guitar amp, then you can monitor that through the direct monitoring button and not have to go through your DAW. It really just depends on your setup. One thing I've done before is used both the inputs for guitar, and then one guitar I've had clean, and then that goes to recording to a clean channel so I can affect it with amp sims later. And then I had like an amp sim pedal or like an amp preamp or something to give me that dirty tone going into the interface so I could use the direct monitoring on the interface and not through the DAW. Long story short, yes, I can hear everything on my end based on my setup, but your setup may vary. This is one of the most common questions I get is what guitar is that? And I'll do a full video on this some other day, but this is the travel guitar by Carry-On. Carry-On is owned by Blackstar. It is a 21.5-inch scale length, 18 usable frets. It's got a mini humbucker, and this is an older model. The newer models come with a pickguard and a split coil in the pickup. So this one just has the mini humbucker, but in the newer models, you have a push-pull pot on your volume, and you can split that to a single coil if you want. It's really cool. It is really high quality. It's not like a child's guitar. It's not like some cheap Walmart guitar. It has nice sustain. It feels good. The frets are a little bit closer together. So if you're gonna buy this as a practice guitar or something, that's perfectly fine. Just know that the frets are closer together, so if you're able to shred on this one and then you move up to a larger, like normal size guitar, it might be more difficult because the frets are spread out. Compare it to a Les Paul. I don't know how that's gonna look on camera, but if you look at the frets next to each other, you can see that. This one has frets closer together. This is my go-to to pick up and play because it feels nice, it's very light, and it's just small, so you can have it anywhere really. And I'm at work, so I'm blessed to work in a TV studio where nobody uses this corner, so I can have a whole rack of guitars, which I do. But if I didn't have that luxury, this would be a perfect option. It sounds great, and also since I shoot also for TikTok and everything, I shoot vertical, it's a lot easier to get this guitar in frame, where otherwise you have to have like some hardcore angle to get that vertical frame in order to get the whole guitar in it. So this makes it a little bit easier, and it feels nice. And for full transparency, they did send this to me for free a long time ago in exchange for some TikTok videos, but those videos are long gone, so I have no obligation to tell you that this is awesome or anything, but it is awesome. And even if you don't want to buy it new, I've seen them on Reverb recently for as little as $150, so it's definitely worth it. Go check it out. This is the Travel Guitar by Carry On. And the last question for this video is, what software do I use? The recording software I use is Reaper. I highly recommend Reaper. It's awesome. It has a free unlimited trial. I bought a license a long time ago. That license has expired since then. I think it was good for 3 versions. So I had version 3, version 4, version 5. We're on version 6 right now. I have not updated my license. I'll do that soon, I promise. But I'm still using it for free unlimited trial. Go use it, it's great. Stock plugins are great. It might not look as pretty as the other DAWs that you might be used to, but you can customize it however you want. If you just look up free Reaper templates, people have made templates that you can just download and then load onto Reaper, and they make it look like whatever DAW you want. Or you can customize it. Mine is just customized based on how I've used it in the past. As I feel like adding something to the template, I just add it in, give it a color, give it an icon, save it. It's really cool. That's all the questions I've got for now. If you have any other questions or feedback, leave them down in the comments. Thanks.